The secrets of World War Z leaked. What is the message behind World War Z? We're going to leak those secrets right now. The core of the book is a UN plan developed to use survivors as bait to lure in the zombies so they can be exterminated. The #1 enemy in this disgusting pro-genocide, anti-human publication is that humans that have not submitted to communism and the United Nations are undesirables that are worse than the zombies. As the globalists prepare the worldwide collapse, they must condition the public that humanity is ugly and needs to be killed. Those of you lucky enough to be behind the compact cities shouldn't complain and should do any Marxist job you're told. After all, only that can defeat the zombies. World War Z is a regurgitation of the same message we've been hammered with our whole lives. The UN is the planet's savior. Humanity is the world's enemy. Only world government will save you from the disgusting zombie filth that is humanity. The globalists have publicly bragged that they engineered World War I and World War II to create the League of Nations and UN and to begin the destruction of the nation state. So we have World War I and World War II were wars against the nation state and national sovereignty. World War Z is a psychological warfare simulation declaring war on humanity itself, with humanity as the enemy and the UN as the savior. Let's talk about Brad Pitt, who was in a bidding war with Leonardo DiCaprio over the book World War Z. We've analyzed it, and I can say unequivocally, this is a manifesto of United Nations worldwide genocide against nation states and individuals. It is a declaration of war and a sacrament to planetary bloodlust and the New World Order's wish to reduce world population. In brief synopsis, the book begins with the disintegration of the world's civilizations by an outbreak of zombies, and the world transforming itself under UN leadership as a single international union to save humanity under Marxism and the extermination of all American gun owners. From the book, World War Z. That's when the UN multinational force was created, and we were pleasantly surprised by how many people signed up in the first week. The biggest enemy for this communist UN takeover are domestic secessionists of the United States. The Rebs only welcomed you with gunshots. The brass had special units for Rebs. I saw them on the road once crossing the Black Hills. That was the first time since the Rockies that I ever saw tanks. Bad feeling. You knew how it was going to end. The ultimate crime is owning a gun, not under UN control. Those that submit and turn in their firearms are called Robinson Crusoes and are given a nice job at the forced labor camp. The body armor was for protection against some of the regular people we found. I'm not talking organized rebels, just the odd LMOE, or last man on earth. Some dude or chick that managed to survive. Most of the time we managed to talk them down. Those we called RCs, or Robinson Crusoes. That was the polite term for the ones who were cool. If the UN concludes that you are not a communist socialist, you are used as bait to lure in zombies because you are the #1 enemy. Before you can be used as slave labor, you must submit to re-education camps. They actually call them re-education camps. From the book, this was the National Re-Education Act. I'd say it was the largest jobs training program since the Second World War, and easily the most radical in our history. This is a way to roll out authoritarianism and make it sexy and fun and condition the public that this type of mass murder is okay. This film talks about, man, my dad was smart. He loved Marxism. And now that we've got Marxism under the UN, it's so great. Yeah, we put people in labor camps. Yeah, we put them in re-education camps. He used methods that were almost Marxist. the kind of collectivization that would make Ayn Rand leap from her grave and join the ranks of the living dead. I've always rejected the wisdom he tried to impart, running as far away as Wall Street to shut it out. Now I'm racking my brain to remember it. And if they didn't do what they were told, they were killed. God, there's such a beauty to that. Yeah, I guess if you're a dirtbag psychopath or somebody worth hundreds of millions of dollars like Brad Pitt, who's married to that angel of death, whose brags she loves death and evil, Angelina Jolie, who travels the world to hype up NATO invasions and Al-Qaeda invasions of free countries where they line up blacks by the tens of thousands like Libya and kill them, or where they attack Syria for 22+ months and engage in all sorts of evil. And there she is saying, it's humanitarian, kill them, when she's not making an Illuminati Tomb Raider film. After all, they're all just Arab zombies, just like in this movie, trying to get over the Israeli wall. Anyone that's infected with the virus, black vans come around and snatch and grab you and throw you in them to take you away and kill you. So it is pure conditioning for snatch and grab. It is pure operant conditioning and preparation to get the public ready for unbelievable evil. And you're told you will serve the megastate. You will serve the greater collective of the Supreme UN Soviet, or you will die. Quoting the book World War Z. The Rebs, on the other hand, armed, organized political secessionists. They were easily our most tangible danger. He would say in private, these must be eliminated swiftly, decisively, and by any means necessary. These were the enemies of our country, the domestic ones. A floating UN command center off the coast of Hawaii, consisting of 72 delegates, controls the fate of the world. Nation states are the problem. The UN's got the answers. I know I caught a lot of flack for going UN instead of making it an all-American crusade, but to be totally honest, I really couldn't give a damn. Throughout history, militaries and cultures have demonized their enemies and said that they're not human. Now the whole of humanity is being taught that we're worthless, that we're garbage, that we're ugly. Part of the UN's Agenda 21 is to teach us that humans are bad for the earth and that the world would be a better place without us, that we are ugly parasites. I covered it in my film, Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement, where the elite openly talk about how they're going to set up a police state surveillance control grid worldwide to carry out the orderly extermination of 90% of the world's population, with the United Nations as the prime organizer and NATO as the physical enforcer. And in all these documents, they talk about releasing or allowing the release of weaponized mousepox and other pathogens like airborne Ebola that will take out more than 90% of the people that come in contact with it. And during an event like that, you're going to see civilization-level collapse. And so the ruling class worldwide is setting up seed vaults, underground bunkers, putting trillions of dollars in the aggregate of taxpayer money in Europe and the United States, Australia, New Zealand, and other Western countries into building incredibly resilient, heavily armed, underground shadow government systems. And I said a decade ago, this zombie fascination was being pushed to dehumanize us and get us ready with kind of a racial memory ahead of the fact so that we will accept as prophecy at a subconscious level the mass culling of humanity. Films like World War Z are meant to program people that they're lucky to serve as slaves of the UN and not be exterminated once these bioweapons are released. And the zombie archetype is just a cover to demonize and dehumanize anyone who's even suspected of being infected of bioweapons plagues the globalists are publicly preparing to release on the planet. You see, for the New World Order, world government is just the beginning. Once that panopticon surveillance control grid is in place, the mass extermination begins. Hollywood has more apocalyptic visions planned out for years to come. Steven Spielberg just started shooting Robopocalypse, scheduled to be released in April of 2014. Here, a deadly supercomputer concludes that human beings are too much of a threat to life on Earth. In an attempt to save all non-human life on the planet, Arcos, the supercomputer, decides to eliminate the human race with just a few human specimens to be left alive. Sounds like the eugenicist program, this computer. This is how they introduce these sick ideas to the population, through fiction. It's the same thing that Hitler did. It's the same thing the Soviets did. It is beyond monstrous. This is undoubtedly a globalist propaganda production. Oh, isn't that cute? The Australian Prime Minister's tongue-in-cheek zombie apocalypse warning. Right as the megabanks shine the world and their peoples on to 1.5 quadrillion, right as they shut off the power plants and cut off the oil. Go look at it for yourself. The CDC and Homeland Security online describes people who get sick during a pandemic as zombies, and they show the U.S. Army in America mowing down American citizens. How would they ever introduce something like that to the public? There'd be a revolt. But if they do it like, hey, get ready for zombies, we're going to have to mow some people down. You better get the vaccine, they say in here, or you're going to get killed by the Army. How would the government ever present the Army and the police mowing people down the street? Oh, they didn't get their flu shot, so they're zombies, and they have to be killed. And then meanwhile, we have all over the United States and in other nations, the military training in martial law, civil unrest drills in major cities, and the combatants that don't want to give in to the UN takeover, why, they're not even human, they're zombies. So when the troops practice mowing down U.S. citizens wearing football jerseys, well, they've got some makeup on, some green makeup and some slime, so they weren't really human. So the next time the troops actually pull the trigger on real citizens during the engineered collapse, well, they were zombies anyway. They're teaching people that ancient thing that tyrants and corrupt militaries have done of dehumanizing their enemy before they kill them. The same thing was done by the Soviets in Poland and in Ukraine, where they killed tens of millions. They said these people are animals. The Nazis said the Jews and others weren't human. The communist Chinese said the same thing about the shop owners they forcibly collectivized and put in slave labor camps. You are a fool if you don't understand that the New World Order does not want you to be in the future. They want the planet's resources for themselves. They want the hard work and the scientific developments that free humanity has developed to be their spoils. They want you dead. And people like Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie are nothing but propagandists selling the population on mass genocide and megadeath. World War Z is a declaration of war against free humanity. I'm Alex Jones. You have been warned, and if you are watching this transmission, remember, you are the resistance.